We are wired to stay comfortable, to feel safe and good at all times. But your success is going to fucking skyrocket when you push yourself to be a little bit uncomfortable at all times in your business. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hello, my angel babies. How are we today? Guess what, guys? Guess what? It's almost March, which means what? Oh yeah, just my motherfucking birthday month. I'm going to be 32, so maybe I don't need a birthday month. But my birthday is on March 21st. For those of you who want to come over to Instagram on that day and say hey. So the 21st is actually the first day of spring this year because it's a leap year. And I was born on a leap year. And it's also the first day of Aries. And it's also the year I'm getting married. I saw somewhere on TikTok that it was like, if you get married on a leap year, that's some good shit. So guys, 32 is my year. And I am an Aries, if you couldn't tell. Like I said, I think I just said it, but it's the first day of Aries on the 21st. And I am so painfully Aries, it's not even funny. So yes, it's the month of my birthday. And on the week of my birthday, so in a couple of weeks, I have something so fucking big dropping to my community. I can't wait. It's going to be lit. So if you don't, and I know I'm turning 32, but now I'm just starting to say lit unironically, and I'm very sorry about it. So if you don't already, go to Instagram at Your Coach Jill and follow me there. A hint that I can give you, it has something to do with this podcast, even though it's not podcast related at all. So that is that. Let's get into today's episode. So your girl made $65K in sales through client contracts and course purchases in just 8 weeks. And something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and that I think deserved a place on the podcast, is one of the things that I truly believe propels me forward in my business constantly. And that is the willingness to be just a little bit uncomfortable at all times. Not just in my business, but in my personal life as well. So I might have told you that in January, I started doing 75 soft, which is my version of 75 hard. I drink 90 ounces of water a day. I have to piss all the time. I work out for at least 45 minutes every day. And I'm committing to not doing any takeout whatsoever. No McDonald's, which is probably the hardest part. I was literally driving today, on the day that I'm recording this. I was driving home from the gym and I was like, Dustin's on an overnight tonight. I could get some McDonald's. And I had to will myself to not go through the drive-thru. But I'm sticking to it, okay? But I do love my Mickey D's. So I'm doing 75 soft. And like I said, I'm drinking 90 ounces of water a day. This to me, it felt uncomfortable. I don't like drinking water. I always have to pee as it is. So I was like, oh my God, I'm really going to have to pee all the time. But after 2 weeks of it, which is when I'm recording this, not even 2 weeks of this, I was like, okay, this isn't that hard. Yes, it was uncomfortable to get used to it. I had to finish my water at 11:30 p.m. on some nights, but I made it happen. And even though I'm peeing a lot, not nearly as much as I thought I would be though. I'm still peeing a lot, but not as much as I thought. And another thing that I do that feels a little bit uncomfortable in my personal life is I'm holding my poses longer in hot yoga. Now, I fucking love hot yoga. I've been going every Friday for the past couple of months. There was a studio that opened up in my hometown and I've never been happier because when I was in university, I used to go to hot yoga all the fucking time. But I live in a small town and nobody offers hot yoga around here. And if I want to go, it was a half hour to 40-minute drive there and back, and I just couldn't be bothered, okay? So I love hot yoga. I was so excited when they opened up a studio here. And like I said, I've been going every Friday for the past couple of months. But if I'm uncomfortable in hot yoga, especially hot yoga, I am moving on to the next pose or the next movement. The kind of yoga where you hold poses, I think it's not vinyasa. I can't remember. I think it starts with an S. But for those classes where you have to hold the poses for a very long time, like, count me out, dude. I hate those classes. But luckily, these classes are not that. And I've noticed that my brain gives out before my body actually does. So, to push myself, I've been holding my poses for as long as I can, holding it until at least everyone else starts to get out of it. And it's not like I would always start moving before everyone else would. But if I was like, oh, I'm uncomfortable in this pose, then I would move it. Usually like the lunging poses are the harder ones, okay? And these two small things, drinking more water than usual and holding my harder poses in yoga longer, have crazily increased my self-trust and my inner power. Like, I can do these mildly difficult, uncomfortable things and actually make them feel easy. And I do that with a lot of other things. Like, a lot of people tell me, like, how do you do as much work as you do? Record podcasts, write the scripts, do all my own content, do my Instagram stories and sell, be in Voxer and Slack coaching my clients, like, being on calls, living my fucking life, working out every day. Like, how do I do everything? And this isn't about yoga. It's not about drinking enough water. It's about pushing yourself even just a smidge past your comfort zone and not giving in. And that is where your success is. In Atomic Habits, which I read for the very first time last month, James Clear talks about the Goldilocks theory, which is the notion that if something is too easy or too hard, you're less likely to do it. There's this sweet spot of difficulty, of challenge, that makes you want to accomplish things. And I've noticed that this is where my sweet spot with fulfillment is. I have to be a little uncomfortable in my business so I can feel fulfilled and like I'm moving the needle. And that can look like posting more TikToks or going live when, like, I post a lot of content. I don't need to go live, but I know that it's good to show up for my community in that way. Or creating a new offer or a new product with trainings inside, which I have to create and do the scripts for and pull everything together. Or writing a podcast episode with as much value as possible. Again, these things aren't hard, but I also could just sit on the couch and watch Netflix and do the bare minimum inside of my business and still make decent money, but I want to make big money, like uncomfortable money. I want to have ultimate freedom inside of my life and my business, and that requires discomfort. Comfort really is the enemy of progress, and we will usually be so unconscious to this fact, that we despise comfort, and we might immediately go to soothe ourselves. But we have to be aware of where this is hindering our business success and our ability to receive. Hi guys, I'm taking a second in the episode to invite you to work with me in March. We've already kicked off Unfiltered, the content mini-mind, so I'll keep you posted if I run that again. But there are spots available in my mastermind, the Fraud Squad. This is a mastermind for the coach or service provider who's making about $5K a month or so and is ready to turn the dial up and create and normalize 10K months. In this mastermind, we clean up your mindset and your limiting beliefs so you can get to those 10K months. We clean up your messaging and your content so you can call in clients with more ease. And we start broadening your product suite so you can receive more money through your current channels and your new ones. And we also align you to that version of you who has 10K months because it's an identity, not just a random number that you hit. This is what we do in the Fraud Squad Mastermind. Contracts start at 4 months for $3,500 pay in full or $888 a month for 4 months. You can also sign on for 8 months, and if you sign on for 8, you'll get $1,000 off that total investment. You can apply to be a part of the Fraud Squad Mastermind at the link in my show notes or send me a DM and let's chat and see if it's a good fit. Now let's get back to the episode. One of my clients in the Fraud Squad Mastermind realized a couple months ago that she was majorly playing small, and one of the ways that she did that was by turning away from any kind of discomfort that she was facing, even if that discomfort was bringing good things and was creating money for her. Like, she had all of these inquiries in her DMs for one-to-one coaching, and instead of responding and setting things up, she actually let them sit there for a while because it was overwhelming to her to have all this interest in her coaching. And you might be like, what the fuck? There's no way I would do that. There's no way I would leave DMs like that. But receiving what you're asking for, allowing yourself to receive, getting even more abundance than you think you're worthy of subconsciously, that will make you do some crazy shit, like not answer DMs from legit people looking to work with you. Achieving or receiving more than we are comfortable to is just not how we are wired. We are wired to stay comfortable, to feel safe and good at all times. But your success is going to fucking skyrocket when you push yourself to be a little bit uncomfortable at all times in your business. It will strengthen your self-trust and make you realize how fucking capable you are. Maybe it is scary as fuck to go live, but you do it anyways once a week. A client that I had last year was so scared to go live, but started doing it. And after a couple weeks, she didn't need to regulate herself afterwards, which was amazing. It was such a huge deal. And even though going live is a small thing, these small things build so much belief and trust in ourselves. And so many people shy away from discomfort when they really should be leaning into it and being aware of what the discomfort is trying to teach them, trying to show them. Especially as a leader, especially as someone whose job is to literally coach and teach people, personal evolution is necessary. Working on yourself and bettering yourself is necessary. Like, I noticed a couple years ago that if I had a hard day and dealt with something that was difficult emotionally, I really wanted comfort food, and I ended up eating more than what was actually a comfortable amount. And I didn't fix that by doing a huge overhaul and throwing out all the junk food or anything. I fixed it by being aware of my body and how I felt and noticing when the urge was there and then being like, what is this actually about? So when we're talking about making $65K in sales in 8 weeks, I started leaning into that uncomfortable feeling when I noticed it was showing up in my business. Like writing more emails. I don't love writing emails, so that stretched me. Or putting more effort into my posts that I was making, or thinking a little bit harder about what I wanted to share in my stories, going live more, being more intentional about my podcast episodes, turning the dial up a little bit more on my efforts and being intentional when I have ADHD and I get distracted, and if I'm bored, I basically just don't want to do it. So I was instilling more discipline into my business with the tasks that I had on my plate. And that is what led to the $65K in sales in 8 weeks from client contracts and course purchases. Anyone can fucking skate by when you're at the level that I'm at, but I didn't want to skate by anymore. I wanted to fucking soar, and my nervous system had gotten a little too comfortable at the level I was playing at. So check in with yourself here and be like, where am I playing small because playing bigger would threaten my comfort zone? Where can I push a little bit more and do a little bit more so I am meeting my edge? That is where continual success and a continual increase in your income fucking lives. All right, besties, I love y'all. Pop over to my Instagram at YourCoachJill, say hi, screenshot and share this episode on your stories and tag me. And of course, apply to work with me in the Fraud Squad Mastermind at the link in my show notes or on Instagram. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.